This is the Home Depot SEC on CBS. The Gators and the Gamecocks on this Veterans Day weekend. A special welcome to all those who have served our nation. With Rick Neuheisel, Aaron Taylor, John Schriffen on the sideline, I'm Carter Blackburn. 2017 has been a saga for the Florida Gators. But Rick, last week at Missouri, there was less chomp than usual for Florida.
Well, you can say that again, and frankly, jobs are on the line. Randy Shannon and his staff cannot be satisfied with the lethargic effort last week in Missouri. They are going to have to get more out of this football team, and the next 3 games are going to be their resumes, Aaron, as they look for work at the end of this season.
Yeah, and with that adversity, though, comes opportunity, and the bottom line is Florida still has an opportunity to be bowl eligible. Now, for that to happen defensively, they've got to play with a higher level of consistency and effort than they did a week ago, but it's the offensive side of the ball that I think shows some promise. They were close last week. They have to finish drives, and for them to do so, I really think Malik Zaire must get his legs involved more than any time we've seen this season.
Meanwhile, for the Gamecocks, it has somewhat quietly been a special season for Carolina football.
It really has. Talking to Will Muschamp, he said this is Judgment Day. Tuesday's practice was a little bit lethargic. It got better as the week went along. But the reality, this is the seniors' last SEC game of a very special season. The defense will be fine, but this team starts and finishes with their quarterback.
No question, Will Muschamp is counting his lucky stars that he finally has some consistency at the quarterback position. Jake Bentley has all the attributes you're looking for as the signal caller. He's got the big arm, and he also has what you're going to see here, escapability here last week, getting out of the rush and finding his big tight end down the field. He's going to need this kind of talent again against a talented Florida defense.
The Gamecocks, but South Carolina, 5 wins over the Gators since 2005, and here at Williams-Brice Stadium, it is Florida who comes in at 3-5 on the year, the 4 straight losses, longest since 7 straight to close 2013. Florida won the toss and will receive the opening kickoff. And Lemons is back. It will be a touchback to the 25 as we check in with John Schriffen.
Well, Carter, to give you an idea just how bizarre this season has been for Florida, after last week's blowout loss to Missouri, it was a sophomore, David Reese, who stepped up and spoke out in front of the media. He said it's disappointing when everyone doesn't want to come together, and he called it unacceptable. So how did Florida react to being called out? Well, all the players we spoke to said it's been positive. They had a great week in practice. In fact, Taven Bryan told me people are tired of what's been happening, and he feels like the worst is behind them. Carter, let's see how that translates now onto the field.
Now you have to back it up with more than words, right?
Absolutely. Interesting, the Gators chose to take the ball. I think they're trying to send a message.
So here is Malik Zaire to pass on first down. Zaire pressured, heaves it, incomplete. So let's take a look at our starting lineups presented by Chick-fil-A. So for Malik Zaire, already a saga of a college football career. Quarterback competitions at Notre Dame with Everett Golson and the major ankle injury. Then it was Deshaun Kaiser. Transfers as a graduate student to Florida. Sits behind Felipe Franks. And now with 3 games left in his college career, Malik Zaire has the reins of the Florida Gator offense. And on 2nd and 10, he's pressured, and he loses the football. Gators appear to recover. Now the Gamecocks have it. We'll have to see.
They're calling it an incomplete pass.
So through all of that, the signal right now is incomplete pass.
Keep your eye right here. There's going to be pressure right off the gate. This is a busted coverage. South Carolina confused them at the line of scrimmage. You can't afford to allow defenders to go. This offensive line struggling early on to make recognition. That's one of the things South Carolina does, is confuse the offensive lineman, and it worked on the 2nd play of the game.
So let's check out Rick's report on Malik.
Zaire is a tremendous athlete at the quarterback position. His legs are his chief weapon. Unfortunately, they have not been able to incorporate it nearly enough in this offense. I'm looking to see if that gets done today.
And after a bizarre 2nd down, here's 3rd and 10. with Zaire on the roll. Looking for help downfield. Zaire will tuck it. He'll take a hit out of bounds, but he's well short as Sky Moore knocks him out.
Have to be excited about that stop for South Carolina. Muschamp told us on Tuesday it was not a good practice following the very physical game against Georgia. Tried to keep the plan simple today. A 3-and-out is always a great way to start, Aaron.
And that's the opposite thing that Florida wanted offensively. They want to stay out of third downs today. Incomplete on first down, sack on second down, and scrambling for your life on third down. They got to get this run game going, I think.
Townsend hits it away. A bright spot for the Gators. Lamons out of bounds around the 27-yard line as we take a look at the Chick-fil-A starting lineups on this side of the football. And it begins with Jake Bentley. Growing up in South Carolina while his dad Bobby established Burns High School as a powerhouse, Jake said watching Steven Garcia play quarterback for the Gamecocks, not only winning, but having fun doing it. One of the inspirations for his time as the Carolina quarterback. And right now they're winning, and he's having fun. A.J. Turner. A week ago, the Gamecocks rushed for only 43 yards against Georgia. Turner on the left side. Nothing doing on first down. Jefferson on the stop. Let's check out Rick's report on Bentley.
We talked about Jake Bentley in the open. He is the organizer. He's the kind of kid who knows everybody's name on the team. He's the kind of kid who's going to tell everybody what we're doing on Thursday night. If there's going to be a social occasion, he's going to get everybody where they're supposed to be. He's an outstanding signal caller at such a young age.
Sounds like a quarterback.
Sounds like a quarterback.
Running again. Turner on the right side. Big hole. Turner breaks free. Barreling through the Gators across the 50-yard line. Turner takes it into Gator territory at the 47. Reese finally brings him down, a gain of 27.
Getting to the perimeter is something that they wanted to do. Keep your eye on the tight end, Hayden Hurst, blocking up on Reese and sealing him. That's just enough to allow Turner to get to the perimeter. Rick, this run game for South Carolina is crucial. In their 3 losses in SEC play, less than 60 yards rushing. That's a good sign for this Gamecock offense.
So now Bentley fires. Hurst wide open. Another big one for the Gamecock offense. And he's inside the 15-yard line. And yet he is hurt. Hayden Hurst after a gain of 33 to the turf. And there's a flag down.
Kurt Roper talked to us about how many type of crossing routes they were going to try to employ against this Gator defense, which loves to play man-to-man coverage. Rather than trying to get vertical against the really sound defenders, try to get some crossing routes.
Penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
So it'll be 1st and 10. August. And a tight end. It's Turner on the left side. More running room as we check in with John.
So Hayden Hurst actually told us in meetings before coming into this game that he was banged up in that Georgia game. So he has been nursing an injury coming into the game. He just went into the medical tent. The trainers are looking at him. I'll give you an update when we have one, guys.
And that's a big concern for the Gamecocks coming off a physical fight in Athens against Georgia.
Little emotionally hung over last week and physically hung over as well. Georgia's a physical team, but they got their act going later on in the week.
They fake on second down. Bentley to the air. Deep shot inside the 5. And a great grab by Shi Smith.
This was a matchup Kurt Roper was also looking forward to, getting Shi Smith in the slot against Duke Dawson in one-on-one opportunities. Perfect throw right there by the young quarterback.
And how about the one-handed catch and the tracking in the air by Shi Smith? He's a speedy, high-motor player that Brian Edwards says doesn't stop.
1st and goal, handoff. Rather, Bentley's going to keep it. He's dropped at the 4s where they spot him down. 2nd and goal.
We asked offensive coordinator Kurt Roper how much they were going to use Jake Bentley's legs. They said we'll do it in critical down and distances, and low red zone certainly qualifies. But this Florida defensive line gets some penetration right out of the gate, coming off that backside with some pressure from the second level.
Bentley fakes it, rolling. Bentley popped inside the 5 and rushes into the end zone. Touchdown, Jake Bentley and Carolina. Joseph had a chance to bring him down, but Bentley with the third rushing touchdown of his Gamecock career.
They had built a little play action pass trying to get the ball to their wide receiver, Brian Edwards. Great coverage out there. Told Bentley to keep the ball, and as you mentioned, Voshon Joseph missed the tackle. Couple missed tackles on that drive for the Gators. That's a concern.
So it's that perimeter run game. South Carolina wanted to come into this game running the ball, and they've done that really effectively here early.
White boots it through. So a week after they rushed for only 43 yards, it's 35 rushing yards on the opening drive. And Bentley, 2 yards, 6 points. Gators go 3 and out, and then Jake Bentley leads a touchdown drive. 7-0 Gamecocks as we look at today's 3 questions. And those 3 questions begin with Rick.
Well, I want to see if Malik Zaire is going to be incorporated in the running game. Doug Nussmeier, the offensive coordinator, has been looking for ways to move the football. They need to find ways to incorporate his legs.
Can South Carolina get back to the ground and pound in their 3 league losses? They never rushed more than 55 yards. Only 43 yards rushing a week ago against Georgia. Already 35 today.
Mine is simply, will they bring the chalk? Gator fans, that was pain. I mean, it's been a painful season. Last week's game was painful to watch, even just as a football fan. Lemons bobbles it. It'll be a touchback anyway. Gators will have it at the 25 as we look at the Florida offense.
Well, keep your eye today on number 89, Tyree Cleveland. The coaching staff said that they wanted to score early and move the ball in chunks to avoid 3rd downs. Cleveland averages almost 20 yards per catch. We all know the great plays that he's made throughout the season. They have to get the ball to their playmakers early and on the perimeter for this offense to move. But again, I think it has to start with Malik Zaire's legs.
Sounds like you guys are in agreement on that. We'll see if Doug Nussmeier agrees. Handing off, nothing doing for Piron. Let's look at the Carolina defense.
We'll keep your eye today on Sky Moore, number 10. He came back for his 5th year. He's got a chance to be only the 15th Division I player to lead his team in tackles all 4 years. Led the team a week ago with 10 against that Georgia front that ran the ball on him pretty well. He's a heck of a player. Keep your eye on 10. This linebacker unit is much improved over a year ago because he's back.
Florida and empty here.
Zaire zips it. It was tipped, and it's incomplete. Looked like Stallworth got a hand on it. He's coming back from a concussion, and the Gators are in 3rd and long again.
One of the most underrated skill sets for the defensive linemen in today's football is getting their hands up when quarterbacks are trying to make the quick throws. You can't get there. Get your hands up and knock it down. Great play right there.
3 and out opening possession for the Gators, and now it's 3rd and 9 as Carolina welcomes back Taylor Stallworth. On 3rd and 9, incomplete. On the outside, it is knocked away. Montag got his hand in there. Steve Montag is playing because DJ Smith unable to go so far for Carolina today.
This is going to be a recipe for disaster for the Gators if they keep leaving themselves in 3rd and 9 situations. They hit it the first time on this particular drive. Not so lucky that time, but that's going to be a hard hill to climb.
1st down success leads to 3rd down success, and they've struggled there here early.
Townsend gets it away. Good pressure from the Gamecocks. Lamont's backing up. He'll let it bounce inside the 10. And another solid punt from Johnny Townsend and Florida's punt unit. 7-0 Gamecocks, and a very good sign for South Carolina as we look at their starting offense.
Well, keep your eye on Hayden Hurst. We've already seen him make his mark on this game early on, whether it's blocking or catching and running. This Gamecock offense is really happy that 81's back on the field. I think this is one of the better tight ends in the country. This adjustment going to 2 high safeties.
Bentley out of his own end zone. On the roll. It is picked off. Intercepted by C.J. Henderson, who takes it inside the 10. Henderson loses the football. It's loose, scooped up by the Gamecocks. This is Turner, who's going to take it back across the 20. Somehow, A.J. Turner and the Gamecocks get the football out to the 24
this season in a nutshell right there. A beautiful job by the cornerback, taking advantage of an errant throw here. There's miscommunication. Edwards running the comeback out. Bentley thought he was going deep. The beautiful job and fumbling now into the end zone. A.J. Turner, Johnny on the spot, coming up with the recovery and the return.
That goes down as a routine gain of 20 on the INT fumble rush.
C.J.
I'm glad
Henderson
you're scoring it in your
That's right.
scorebook.
Has to hold on to that football, but how about A.J. Turner so heads up there?
That's Denson, short gain. Bryan there on the stop. As now we look at that Gator defense, 18.
Thank you, Taven Bryan, for making my job easy up here. Old 93 is a heck of a playmaker. Extremely disruptive defensive lineman that wins with quickness and penetration. We've seen the running game for South Carolina be on the perimeter. They were really concerned about number 93 and how disruptive he is in there. I think they're showing him a lot of respect by not running between the tackles.
Bentley 2nd and 7. Pressured from behind, and Bentley goes down with good pressure.
That's
including C.C. Jefferson and Kerry Clark.
That's what we call a coverage sack. That was just excellent coverage. They had a crossing route and a wheel going along with it. Bentley went through his read, nothing there. And the rush closed in, as they say.
And that's how the back end can help the front end, and it's perfect complementary football.
So Hurst was covered up. Now it's 3rd and 8. We'll see if they try to go right back to Hayden Hurst.
Big opportunity for Florida here. They miss an opportunity, obviously, with the turnover. This one, I think, would be good for the morale to get off the field here.
3rd and 8. Time for Bentley to throw over the middle. That's complete. Diving forward, but appearing to be just short of the first down, Ortre Smith.
Going to be interesting to see how aggressive Will Muschamp wants to be here. He's leaving his team out there. They said they wanted to establish the run. I love this call here at midfield, particularly the way their defense is playing, to go for it. Oh, he chickens out. Come on.
I was just about to say, Aaron, pump the brakes. You haven't worn that whistle long enough. You need to punt this ball, take advantage of some field position. Remember, these guys are not looking exactly prolific offensively.
And Will Muschamp told us the worst thing we can do is give them a shot of energy like a 4th down stop. Fair catch. Powell loses it again. Just like last week at Missouri that set up the first Tiger touchdown, and it's Gamecock ball inside the Gator 15. The 2nd straight week Powell has mucked it inside the 15.
And that's significant, not just because it gives South Carolina the ball in the red zone, but you saw him drop his head there. He's one of the leaders and hard workers on this team. When you have older guys that are making mistakes, it's really difficult to respond emotionally. Florida needed something good to happen. Remember, they almost had a pick-6 to start that series of downs, and here they turn the ball over, giving a good South Carolina team more help than they need. 2
amazing breaks for South Carolina. The turnover that they got back, and now the muff punt. And Turner has it again with another hold on the right side. Reese finally bumps him out. Did a good job of pulling off.
I'm smiling here as my partner Aaron's got this big grin on his face. There's nothing that pleases an offensive lineman more than watching gap scheme football come downhill. Tell him about it, big fella.
Gap scheme football is double teams on the play side, pulling backside linemen to the play side, being able to create holes and attack that B-gap. It's the perimeter runs that South Carolina is doing such a beautiful job. Florida has to adjust by bringing a safety and getting some sort of perimeter run support.
2nd one, give it to Denson. A huge hole right up the gut. Denson and the Gamecocks gashing the Gator D. 2nd rushing touchdown of the game for South Carolina. This one goes for 24. Armand Denson.
This is a pretty simple offense. They run gap schemes, they run zone schemes. That was a zone right through the heart of this Florida defense. Very little resistance there. I think the decision to get back to the run game is working out for South Carolina.
I was just going to say, Will Muschamp is telling Kurt Roper, I told you we should have been running the football. Beautiful drive.
Parker White for the PAT. So a week after the run game was shut down, a statement in the first quarter. 14-0, both of them rushing TDs. Reason for Carolina, get cocky. 2 years after these fans watch the Gamecocks go 3-9, lost to Citadel, there is a lot of life back here for the Gamecocks. 6-3, 4-3. A win today assures them at least a tie for second place in the SEC East.
Will Muschamp called this Judgment Day. They're ahead of schedule. They have an opportunity to finish 5-3 in the conference. 2 years after losing to the Citadel. You're exactly right. This is exciting stuff if you're a Gamecock fan.
Zaire on the roll again on 1st and 10, leaves it high as we check in with John Schriffen.
Well, there were reports that there's a quarterback controversy at Florida, but we talked to Coach Shannon. He told us that's just not true. He told us really what happened this week. He said when we went to the quarterback meeting, he spoke to both Malik Zaire and Felipe Franks, and he told Franks that Zaire would be the starter. So then he asked him, what did you think about that? And Frank said, look, I'm not happy about it. I feel like I'm better. Coach Shannon said, look, I am happy about that. I want my starter to feel like he should be out there, but clearly he's not unhappy with being in the program here.
I want to get your thoughts on that in a second, Rick, but 2nd and 10 here, Iran, nothing doing, 3rd long. You have any problem with that whole discussion?
You know, you always want alpha-type competitors at the quarterback position. There is absolutely nothing wrong with having conversations about where you stand in the hierarchy when you're trying to get a chance to play. What you don't like is when that spills over to the field and ends up becoming a divided locker room. What we're trying to do here at the University of Florida is win games. Down 14-0 right now. It's gut check time for the Gators.
3rd and 11, and Malik Zaire's second start as a Gator is just 3 for 9 passing. On 3rd and long, Zaire, the screen looked like it was covered up. So on the roll, impromptu, Zaire stays in bounds, and now he's finally knocked out. The Gators will go 3 and out for the 3rd time in 4 offensive possessions. Again, Townsend hits it. Lamons is back. It'll hit at the 40. And don't rule anything out here.
They pushed the South Carolina Gamecock into the football right there. That is exactly the fundamental you teach. If it hit his heel, it's a muff. They can't advance it, but I believe they're going to call this a fumble, and it's going to be Gator ball right there.
So our officiating crew is going to huddle on this one. Hubert Owens and his crew getting together to try and sort this out, to see if it was a push to get the contact, to make it loose.
It's Brad Stewart, number 2. Right there at the right, in the right-hand side of that box. That pushes the South Carolina player there as we see the officials making the call.
The ruling on the field is that the punt hit the South Carolina player, recovered by Florida at the spot of recovery. 1st down.
That's a turnover.
That's why the returner's job is to say, Peter, 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 and get everybody away from the football. So this sort of thing can't happen. It's beautifully executed by the Florida Gator right there to push the Gamecock into the football and create the turnover.
And Rick, those are the sort of things that this coaching staff wanted to see from their players. They're playing with greater consistency, greater effort. And if you're South Carolina, it still seems like they're a little bit hungover from that Georgia game.
South Carolina has turned the ball over now 3 times in this game and enjoys a 14-0 lead.
At a minimum, you've got to think of a way to be able to get a field goal out of this. And you got to use number 8's legs to get it done, in my opinion.
Gators had 9 takeaways all year, 3 in the 1st quarter. To the outside, big block, that's Tony. Welcome back to Darius Tony. Finally knocked out of bounds. They'll spot him out at the 15. Lamons made the stop. Darius Tony, the true freshman.
Great perimeter blocking is what it is you need. Just an excellent job getting the defender down on the ground. That was Freddie Swain, who at halftime of the game a week ago was extremely vocal, got into the players' faces and said, hey, we're better than this. And that leadership showed up on that last block. Keep your eye on 16. He could be one of the players that gets this thing turned around.
Zaire toss. That will be Massey on the edge, and he goes down, minimal gain on what will likely be the last play of a weird 1st quarter. So Florida, 3 takeaways from Will Muschamp, South Carolina team, and yet it is 14-0 Gamecocks on the Gators. Can Malik Zaire lead Randy Shannon's Gators into the end zone finally? 14-0 Gamecocks at the end of one. South Carolina has been winning weird all year, and they lead this one 14-0 as we head to the second in weird fashion. Let's look at today's Horizon red zone stats. 65% touchdown for the Florida Gators, scored on 19 of 20 red zone trips. And the first play of the second quarter will be 2nd and 9 from the 15. Zaire, toss, Pirine picking his way for a minimal gain, bringing up 3rd down and reasonably long for the Gators again.
This is where Doug Nussmeier is going to be in concert with Randy Shannon, deciding whether or not this is 4-down territory, or do I need to take a shot with Zaire's throwing arm and try to gain this 1st down that way. If you have 2 downs, you may look for some sort of quarterback run or maybe a draw play to Pirine.
Gamecocks have only allowed 3 points off a turnover all year long. Gators have struggled to turn takeaways and points. 3rd and 7. Zaire, pressure. Out of the pocket, on the roll, tossing back, incomplete. Just throws it away, and we'll find out exactly what that conversation was like for 4-down territory.
The passing game of Florida has been ineffective today because of the D-line of South Carolina is causing so many problems. They're working great in concert. There was nowhere for Malik Zaire to be able to throw that ball. Some early pressure inside. South Carolina being able to get themselves off the field on 3rd down, forcing yet another field goal for Florida. 3 points not going to get it done today down here in the red zone. This is a huge missed opportunity for the Gators, but one they must capitalize on.
Piniedo's kick is good again. So 3 points on the board off the takeaway. But the Gamecocks keep the Gators out of the end zone. 14-3 Carolina. I mean, that's 3 turnovers by South Carolina, but it turns into only 3 points for the Gators. Out of the end zone. Fenton dropped as he crosses the 20.
Of the Gators, they've got to be a little bit stouter up front. They struggled early to be able to stop the perimeter run game. Florida responded by bringing some safeties into the box, but to the outside, the play calling inside, going back to the run game, working for South Carolina. Let's see what they dial up here on this series, but my guess is going to involve the run.
And here's Billy to pass on 1st down. Complete to the outside. That's August, whose biggest play of the day was the tackle after the pick.
He caught the shoe of Chauncey Gardner as he was headed to pay dirt. It was an excellent play. Nice to give him a little crumb, as they say, out of the backfield. Get him jump-started a little bit.
Only his 5th catch of the year.
I agree with you, though, Aaron, even though that was a forward pass. Listen, you get a chance to also control the clock, control time of possession. A week ago, South Carolina only had the ball 21.5 minutes. If they can keep their defense fresh on the sideline, it'll behoove them.
Bentley out of the gun, play fake, Lincoln to the outside. Hurst dropped. Marco Wilson, the true freshman corner, with a tough tackle on Hayden Hurst.
That was a nice job of him coming off his original coverage, coming back inside. Hurst is such a good and big receiver, a good form tackle, wraps him up, drives him down to the ground. This Florida defense that took a lot of heat for kind of shutting it down, not playing with much effort last week, is really responding nicely here when they give them the opportunity.
Kurt Roker will make a mental note right there. If that corner is going to come off that quickly to that flat route, there's a chance to pump that and take that rail shot later.
Surprised Florida hasn't done that offensively as well.
Turner trying to run it up the gut, setting up 3rd down and manageable. Well, it has not been a good run. You go with the first 6. I mean, it's incredible to think about where this Gator team started to where they are right now.
And you look at a lot of it had to do with injuries. Marcel Harris goes down with an Achilles early on in the season. He was the unquestioned leader of this team. Then Jordan Sherritt gets hurt. Nick Washington goes down. Not only have they lost production a year after so many guys went to the NFL, they've also lost a ton of leadership.
Chance chance to get off the field here, 3rd and 5. Bentley steps up, check down, Turner bobbles, makes the grab, gets to the outside, has a first down. Duke Dawson slipped and fell, allowing Turner to pick up the first down.
This is the kind of stuff that makes Jake Bentley so special. He went through 4 different targets there, getting all the way back to his swing route, who was standing there out there by himself because the defense's eyes. You can see as he looks down the field, he's going to check, he's up in the pocket, his eyes come all the way around to his swing route. Beautifully done.
Could have been a hold on that as well that they missed, and a great job of using a crossing route by South Carolina. Duke Dawson didn't fall down, he got knocked down because of the routes that the Gamecocks ran.
Bentley throwing on first down again, bobbled, incomplete. Good play by C.J. Henderson in coverage on Edwards, who is back out there for the Gamecocks. A big target who took a big hit.
C.J. Henderson, a freshman out of Miami Columbus High School, had an interception in the end zone on the first Missouri drive a week ago. He's going to be a heck of a player. He gets targeted a little bit because he's young, but I think he's got a very bright future in Gainesville.
Bentley 2nd and 10. Pumps. Takes off. Wrestled down. Chauncey Gardner.
Beautiful play by Chauncey Gardner coming off. It was what we coaches call a fire zone, bringing added pressure from the field. Gardner gets pushed past the quarterback, but effort-wise, he comes back, circles back, and Bentley loses track of him, comes all the way back to make a play.
That's the thing that stood out to me. A.J. Turner went to block him, but he didn't give up on the play. That's the exact effort that this Florida coaching staff wanted to see.
Now it's 3rd and 15 again. Bentley, deep shot, sideline, knocked away. Good coverage by C.J. Henderson on Brian Edwards.
Love the way that C.J. Henderson is playing. They've been targeting him. This is a 2nd play in a row where they've got him matched up on one of their best receivers, Brian Edwards, but he runs with him step for step. He's in phase with him, turns his head, knocks the ball down, and you're starting to hear some boo birds come out here at Williams-Brice with this South Carolina offense.
And after the 2nd month by Powell, the last 2 weeks it's Swain back. And a high punt, Charlton. It'll roll out of bounds. We'll see where they mark it out. Could be around the 35-yard line. So another chance for the Gator offense. 3 on the board last time. They still trail it 14-3. Now the offense has to do something. So a handoff, and here's something. Thompson across the 50, delivering a blow as Thompson's finally down to the Gamecock 40-yard line. Contact finally makes the stop. A gain of 31 by Mark Thompson.
Well, you're going to run some power football yourself on the outside. This is football 101, pulling the backside guard. Just a great job of coming up through, accelerating your feet on contact, and Thompson takes advantage of it.
Gap scheme football. That's old-fashioned, Aaron.
Love it.
So now Zaire to the outside with a good block on the edge. Tony still wrestled down after a short gain. Swain was doing all he could on the outside.
There's Freddie Swain again, being a great teammate, finding a way to ensure the catch and get some extra yards. That's winning football. That's the kind of stuff as a coach, when things are going wrong, you want to point out. Not always the guy who makes the catch. You want to end up showing, hey guys, look at this. Look at this extra effort we're getting right here. That's how we're going to find ways to win. It's not going to just be making a touchdown grab. We got to put all the pieces together to formulate great offense.
A lot of young talent that is exhibiting leadership skills here for the Gators. That should be encouraging moving forward.
Zaire, here's a design run for Malik Zaire. On the left side, inside the 20. Finally, Malik Zaire in the run game.
A quarterback run. We all love quarterback run. Gap scheme again, Aaron.
This is a quarterback power read as Malik Zaire slow to get up. Going to pull the backside guard. It's going to act like it's a draw. They bring Thompson around to block. Just some unbelievable blocks. My goodness, Mark Thompson pancaking the linebacker coming through. Nice job by the backside guard, Tyler Jordan, on the kick out. And there finally, Rick, is that run game with the quarterback, but he comes up a little gimp.
Felipe Franks, the redshirt freshman, is getting warmed up. So you heard John's report. Felipe Franks trying to keep that good mojo on the sideline for the Gators. And now it's Felipe Franks, the redshirt freshman, who versus Mizzou off the bench. 7 for 10 with a TD pass last week. As Franks on 1st and 10, looking for the throwback. Incomplete. Off the back of his left tackle, Martez Ivy. Let's look at Rick's report on Felipe Franks.
Well, he's a big, strong athlete. Got big arm. We saw that when he threw the Hail Mary against Tennessee to Tyree Cleveland. He's athletic. He has a 79-yard run to his credit this year as well. His lone flaw is right now he doesn't see the field. His eyes drop right now and sees the rush. It's resulted in a lot of sacks this season.
Malik Zaire coming back into the game gives him a little bit more of an ability to process. The play sheet might be a little bit bigger. He's gotten more practice reps this week. Interesting going to see what Doug Nussmeier dials up for him here.
Zaire 2nd and 10. It's another run, and he's down at the 20, and it does not look good.
You have to feel for Malik Zaire. He wanted to play so badly. This is his last year. He's a senior. Transfers from Notre Dame, wants this opportunity. He's going to give it everything he got, but it just didn't look like his leg was up to the task.
Aaron, you know Malik through the Irish connection. I mean, this is especially tough to see what all he's been through in his college career, and 3 games left, and Malik Zaire's down the 2nd time in 3 snaps.
All he wants is a chance in the play, and that is exactly what Randy Shannon told us is behind the reasoning to let him go out and play. The players respond well to him. He exhibits the leadership that's necessary for the quarterback position, but it takes more than heart and desire to get out there to move an offense.
And people are going to ask, how does Randy Shannon let him go back in the game? What happens here is the medical staff will look at him and they'll give an opinion to the head coach saying it's this or that or the other, and he can go back in. And then the kid looks at you and says, Coach, I got it. I can do this. And it's hard to say no to a youngster like that.
Randy Shannon said his special relationship with Malik Zaire even when he was defensive coordinator. But for now, Zaire is in the injury tent. Felipe Franks back out for 3rd and 16. Pressure, heaves it, end zone, and it is incomplete. With Lamons there in coverage, Stallworth got the good push with a pass intended for Powell.
Chris Lamons might have gotten away with some messy hands there. You're going to see this ball up in the air. It looks as if he gets away with it, but as we like to say in football, the rules are what they call.
Rubbing is racing, as they say.
And the quarterback drama for the Florida Gators takes another turn.
The coaches told us one of the keys to getting this thing turned around was finishing drives. Last 2 times Florida's been in the red zone, they've kicked field goals instead of touchdowns. That's not the improvement the staff is looking for.
Pinedo makes it 3 more, and with Malik Zaire on the Florida sideline, it's now 14-6. Talked a lot about Zaire in the run game. Do you think maybe that's one of the hesitations to running him was gingerness?
Possibly, but you have to play to your strength, especially when you're mired in a 4-game losing streak.
It's a touchback. So now it's Jake Bentley and the South Carolina offense from the 25. Turner will take it. More room to run on the left side. Gain of 5 on 1st down for A.J. Turner.
Looking at what South Carolina's done on 1st down today, they're averaging about 5 yards every time they have a 1st down play. What that allows them is some 2nd and 3rd and short opportunities to take advantage of. The 2nd hardest down and distance to defend is what they're looking at right here for the Gators. That's 2nd and 5.
Bentley pumps, zips it complete over the middle. Big conversion again. Smith shoved out of bounds by Duke Dawson. Ortrey Smith, true freshman, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
Another crossing route, this time beautifully executed. This time a short split by Ortrey Smith as he crosses the field, gets the ball in plenty of room to run. A great clear out by the bunch set to the field.
That puts a pretty good receiver on the weak side linebacker, Boshan Joseph. That's a mismatch that they'll take advantage of every time they get it.
Gamecocks have more than doubled up the Gators. Pressure off the edge. Turner runs away from it across the 50-yard line. Turner spinning after another tough run. Steiner finally makes the stop.
Well, they're playing big boy football right now up for South Carolina. This is just another power play. Double teaming Taven Bryan, the player that they wanted. coming around on the backside. And the linebackers, you can't overrun the hole. You have to sit back there and take away that gap. That's the running game that South Carolina wanted to be able to do. And again, we're seeing some missed assignments and some bad run fits by this Gator defense.
Turner's career high was 121 rushing yards versus Vandy. He may blow past that. Give it to Mon Denson, who had the TD run. Denson, could be, and it is a face mask on C.C. Jefferson, tacking on 15 more.
Florida was trying to bring some outside pressure and lost contain.
Face mask. Defense, number 96, 15 yards to the end of the run. First down.
It's a great run by Mon Denson. He saw Jeremiah Moon cutting off the off end, but he's trying to close down, thinking Denson was going to be an interior runner. He just gave him a little move and got outside. No one home.
6 penalties on the Gators in the first half, 41 yards.
All this man coverage down here in the red zone's got to have Bentley just licking his chops. Give me a chance to throw one into the end zone, Coach.
Bentley on 1st and 10. And that's Jefferson flying in again. This one legal on Denson, tackle for loss.
That's what makes him so good. He's so quick off the outside edge, does a beautiful job of timing the snaps. Here he is here. He comes flat. He just gets out of his stance so quickly that he beats the pulling block of Corey Helms. That's a really hard adjustment for a guard to be able to pull and have to adjust to somebody that shows up so quickly.
Meanwhile, on the Florida sideline, Malik Zaire out of the tent, helmet off. Bentley, 2nd and 12, throws, complete, heavy traffic. Hurst, wrestle down, no. Spot him at the 20, brings up 3rd down with less than 5 to go here in the 2nd quarter.
Just a little stick route right there, trying to get a little bit back. Now getting yourself into a manageable 3rd down position.
Taking a look at Malik Zaire there. It's tough, man. There's a difference between want to and able to. I know he wants to help his team win, but sometimes you got to do what's in the best interest of the team, not your only personal desires. So it'll be interesting to see if he returns to this game and what his status is.
Meanwhile, Bentley 3rd and 9 from the 20. Zips it. Coming back to make a nice catch, Brian Edwards. We'll see where the spot is. That looks like it is close. And Hubert Owens, 4th down, didn't get it.
Decision time for Will Muschamp. 4th and short. Up 8. He's leaning on his guy. He's going to say he's going to go for it.
Well, as many times also as Florida's jumped off sides, they might try to hard count him here and get a free 1st down.
Do you like it going for it on 4th down?
Well, we saw him not go for it, but yeah, I'm an offensive lineman. You always go for it, particularly as well as they've been running.
And here you go. Denson with a push inside the 12. Touchdown.
He likes it a lot now.
And now you love it on 4th down. The 2nd rushing touchdown of the day for Mon Denson. And the 3rd on the ground for the Gamecocks.
And that was just a simple zone play. Mon Denson, 5'10", 209-pound redshirt sophomore out of LaGrange, Georgia, having a heck of a game here. But that offensive line, Rick, getting a hat on a hat and creating creases.
The numbers do not lie. When South Carolina runs for over 100 yards in SEC competition, they win.
Parker White's PAT makes it 21-6. So the effort may be there for the Florida Gators, but the result for now is the same. The Gamecocks taking it to the Gators, 21-6. Now the Gamecocks are making a statement on the ground, 21-6 with their 3rd rushing touchdown at Williams-Brice Stadium. Showing its love. 2 rushing TDs with a sophomore, Mon Denson.
South Carolina right now has 122 yards rushing. That's 21 more than Florida has total offense.
So Frank's on 1st and 10. Big one in the pass game. Hammond across the 50. Hammond finally shoved out by Williams. So So Franks puts it in the hand of Hammond on his first pass of the drive, a gain of 37.
Here's Hammond right here. He does a nice job on his release, and the defender falls down. That's got inside leverage, clearly in a man situation, but just a nice, quick, clean release, and Felipe Franks putting the ball on the money, allowing Hammond to be able to catch and run with a huge gain right out of the gate to start this drive.
Gators 20-plus yard plays, 4 of them in the last 11 snaps. So the Gator offense is starting to find a rhythm, and the Gamecocks are banged up. Franks after a gain of 37 has Pirine in the backfield, and here's Pirine. Nothing doing up front.
Center quarterback exchange you can never take for granted.
So Jordan in at center with McCoy down for now. And Felipe Franks. Pressure breaks down, play breaks down. Franks on the roll, flings it incomplete to make it 3rd and 8.
That was a 3-by-2 wide receiver scenario, meaning it's empty. South Carolina only brought 4, but their empty check was to run games. So Franks feels some pressure and saw that the defensive end came inside. That's the keeping your eyes downfield part of his game that Rick was alluding to earlier. Good coverage on the back end once again.
Route called for a quick throw, but it's hard to get a quick throw against man-to-man coverage. That was more of a zone scheme called by Doug Nussmeier.
Zaire looking on. Franks. Gators have only 1 3rd down conversion. They hand it off. Pirine on 3rd and 8. It's only a couple. Stallworth on the stop. Nothing downfield for the Gators.
A very interesting conservative play call there. I know they have a lot of faith in their field goal kicker, and my guess is that's why they did that, to maybe get a chance. But my goodness, given the situation, you would think that you'd probably want to go for it given where they're at.
And yet they're staying on the field. Maybe it was a 4-down situation. Gap schemes had looked good, and maybe Doug Nussmeier knew he had an extra call.
So now it's 4th and 7. 8 conversions on the season. South Carolina got its last touchdown on a 4th down conversion.
3 over 2 down here on the bottom.
Franks, play clock winding down. Play action. Felipe Franks loads up, fires. It's caught inside the 20. Powell holds it in, and the Gators convert on 4th down.
That is as good a play as Felipe Franks has made all season. I know he had the long throw against Tennessee, but standing in the pocket and seeing the second in route right there down the field for a 1st down, let alone on 4th down, that's big-time college football.
And Brandon Powell, that had another muff 2 weeks in a row, comes up huge there.
Now can the Gators punch it in before the half? Franks from inside the 20. Rolling, throwing, end zone knocked away, incomplete. Intended for Stevens with Lamons and Jamarcus King in coverage.
Was that pass a little bit late there, Rick? It looked like he had it maybe a second earlier. I like the way he's going through his progressions, though. There was a sliver of hope, but again, that coverage with the field shortening down here in the red zone means that you got to put those balls in extremely tight windows.
Anticipation becomes that much more critical as you get into tight spaces. Keep track of the clock here, guys. 1:24. You would like not to give the Gamecocks a lot of time left as you finish this drive.
2 scores, but more importantly, 0 touchdowns in the red zone for Florida today. Out of the eye with Raymond at fullback. Pirine with a good push on the left side inside the 10. Touchdown at last, Florida Gators.
There is that gap scheme again. A beautifully executed power play. Backside guard pulling, something that just brings a smile to my partner's face. Aaron, tell him about it.
Oh, it's God's play in football, Rick. When you can get double teams on that play side, build that wall.
Get you a napkin drool.
Literally. And now Pinedo on for the PAT. Pinedo's PAT is good. It's 21-13 at the end of the first half. For John Shrippen's halftime interview with Coach Muschamp, go to Twitter at SEC on CBS. Now let's go to Adam Zucker in our New York studio. After a wacky first quarter that saw 5 combined turnovers, the Gators outscored the Gamecocks in the second quarter 21-13 as we get set for the second half with South Carolina on top. Carter Blackburn, Greg Neuheisel, Aaron Taylor with John Schriffen on the sideline. AT, I'm going to guess you like those rush numbers for the Gamecocks.
Well, they're staying extremely balanced and they're controlling the point of attack. They have to keep that up. But more than anything, this is judgment day, as Coach Muschamp said. They need to settle down and merely execute.
And if you're Randy Shannon, you have to be really excited about the way that half ended. Not only did you get it to within 1 score at 21-13, but Felipe Frank stood in the pocket and hit a 17-yard strike to Brandon Powell. That's the kind of stuff you're going to need out of him in the second half if you're going to find a way to come back in this game.
So for now, it is Felipe Franks. Another chance for the redshirt freshman for the Gators after Malik Zaire went down with another injury. Touchback. Gamecocks will have it at the 25-yard line. 8 on the year until 3 in the first half. And back to the run game. A.J. Turner on the edge. Tries to turn the corner. C.C. Jefferson tracks him down for a minimal gain on first down.
You know, Will Muschamp talked about C.C. Jefferson. He was one of Muschamp's recruits there at Florida. He said, you know, I always thought he was going to be a great player. Maybe he had not been as productive as he thought, but right there you can see that athleticism flash.
Really, the strength of his game is to be able to get upfield and get off the ball quickly. Look for some penetration here in the second half from Florida.
Bentley 2nd and 10. Screen. Turner cuts it back. Finds a lane. Turner spinning away and gets across the 35-yard line. Gardner finally brings him down. Gain of 12. Jefferson gets to Bentley.
This is a screen that's going to go out to the right. As an offensive lineman, you want to let your guy go, but there was absolutely nobody backside that picked up C.C. Jefferson, so Jake Bentley took a huge hit. But nice job of being patient by A.J. Turner, setting up his blocks, moving the chains.
Denson's in the backfield now. Another big hole on the left side. Carolina committed to the run. Taylor on the stop.
They're doing more than being committed to the run. They're getting a hat on a hat and just blowing them out. First, they started this second half trying to get to the perimeter. Now they're going up to the inside. It's a simple running game by South Carolina. It's gap scheme, which means double teams and pulling linemen, but simple zone concepts, doubling the down linemen up to the backers, working extremely effectively as well.
So now 2nd and 9 to the outside. Ouch, tipped as Marco Wilson continues a solid corner play for the Gators.
You can see this Florida defense is not going to go away quietly. That Chris Rumpf is adding pressure. They are getting close to Jake Bentley, and because of the pressure, he's making some poor throws. Here again, he's got a guy in his face. You can see great coverage out there. This is the kind of formula I think you're going to get from Florida the rest of the way. Will Muschamp's going to try to get a running game right here because you'd love to get this game to 2 scores.
Bentley's been hit a lot in this second half. This defense across the board, particularly on the front level, playing at a nice high level.
3rd and 9. Bentley chased again. He has room ahead. Bentley has a first down, sliding near the 35. Move the chains on 3rd and 9.
The great equalizer versus man coverage. No one's covering the quarterback. He stands back there, he counts, he looks down the field, sees that he's got some open grass. Go and get yourself a first down and then get down and save yourself a hit.
And also the defenders are running with the receivers. They're not even looking at the quarterback, so it essentially ends up being clear outs, which is what allows Bentley so much room to run.
From the 35, give it to Turner with a big hole inside the 20. A.J. Turner wrestled down by Jawan Taylor at the 10.
Power football. You're going to bring Corey Helms around, get some good double-team blocks. Here's Helms here, taking over the double-team blocks where you build the wall, and A.J. Turner just takes advantage of it. There's nobody there. The linebackers that were attacking downhill earlier in the game were flat-footed there, which is what allowed that play to go.
It is amazing how often a 3rd down conversion can take the sting out of a little defense, and they don't fit their gaps correctly.
Turner lined up in the slot. Now he'll motion, and they'll give it to him again. Turner pushing ahead on 1st and goal for a gain of 3. Joseph and Reese there on the stop. Let's take a look at today's Verizon red zone stats. That kind of the touchdown percentage at 50% for South Carolina. I mean, that kind of tells you again the story how the Gamecocks have just been winning ugly.
Well, Florida comes into this game 111th in the country in yards gained. And you start to worry about Florida. South Carolina comes in 114th.
Second and goal. Bentley pulls it. Looking for a block on the edge. Hurst has it. Touchdown. The fourth rushing touchdown of the day for Carolina. The second for Jake Bentley.
Kurt Roper says we're going to run Bentley in critical situations. Up 21-13 with an opportunity to put an exclamation point, get yourself a comfortable lead. They call that critical, Aaron.
Just a beautiful play call. They've been running that slice play. They slipped the defensive end, don't even end up blocking him. He had a lead blocker out there with Hurst coming around. Beautiful design and execution. Bentley's second touchdown of the day on the ground.
It was an 8-point game, so the Gators well within striking distance. Bentley, 3 INTs on the day, so why not keep it on the ground? Smiles all around for the Gamecock fans. Touchdown, Jake Bentley. 28-13, Carolina. Jake Bentley didn't have a rushing touchdown in his Gamecock career. He's only a sophomore, but Vandy 2 games ago had 2 rushing TDs. Now in this game, 2 more rushing TDs. Grew up in South Carolina, finished high school, Opelika, Alabama, when his dad Bobby was on the staff at Auburn. Graduated high school a year early to come play.
Bentley is getting the job done. Who cares that when he runs it looks like 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound sack?
And remember, you give me lots of strokes both sides, HBC says. Thompson behind Raymond in the odd backfield. Felipe Franks hands off. Thompson, who had the big run for the Gators, gets a couple here. Jones makes the stop.
2-back offense trying to get some running game muster to assist Felipe Franks. Still plenty of time to be patient. 1:50 now left in the third quarter. 2-score game. You cannot try to put this all on the young quarterback at this point, at this juncture anyway. You need to manufacture some balance.
And I like the first down run call by offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier. Don't put this all on Felipe Franks. Try and convert some here.
Now on 2nd and 7. He's trying to stay in the pocket. Nothing there. 3rd and 7 in Florida. I mean, 1 for 10 on 3rd down.
There were some reads backside that I thought Felipe Franks might have been able to hit, but that was a situation, Rick, where I think he felt the rush a little bit, takes his eyes down. He seems to be a one-read type of a quarterback at this stage in his career.
That's what we talked about at the outset when he came into the game. His eyes drop when he doesn't have his first choice, and he just finds those red shirts, and they look menacing.
Franks took over for the injured Zaire in this game after Malik Zaire made his 2nd start as a Gator. Franks, pocket holds up, can't complete it. And here come the flags. Yep, Powell.
They're going to get Lamons here.
It is Lamons.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 3. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
I agree with you, Rick, but you see that left hand wrapped around Powell right there. You got to get it, and if you're South Carolina, that's a miscue that you can't afford to do on 3rd down.
He doesn't mind if you and I see that left hand. He just doesn't want that back judge to see it.
Spot foul, less than 15 yards on the pass interference, but it is still automatic first down. Gators, who haven't been able to convert on 3rd down, get a boost there. So back into the eye, fake it. Franks fires, that's complete to the 45-yard line. We give him the 46.
Going back to the 2-back offense now. They play the play action off the power. Here's what we typically call a snag in West Coast parlance. You're going to have the tight end run a corner route. The outside receiver is going to come to sit down. That's where he reads. The fullback will come out in the flat. And Franks does a nice job of hitting his target.
It's a nice job off of that play action on 1st down. Florida's been pretty effective in the pass game, throwing on 1st down off of the run game that's come alive for them from the 2nd quarter on. Nice job of play calling by Nussmeier here to keep the chains moving. And Felipe Franks, when he sits in the pocket with his feet and goes through his progression, is a pretty good quarterback.
After 13 points in the second quarter for Florida, none in the third. Fake it to Pirine, fire on the slant. Powell makes the grab, tough tackle by Williams with 18 seconds to go in the third.
This is a run-pass option. They've called power, and Felipe Franks sees outside leverage on Brandon Powell out there in the slot and says, Coach, I'm not handing it off. I got myself an easy slant.
Making it easier as the linebackers bite off that run action up front. It's really hard for them to be able to read it. And just a good execution of throwing the ball as we come here to the end of the third quarter.
So the Gamecocks have the only score of the third, and we go to the fourth quarter in Columbia. 28-13, Gamecocks on the Gators. Well, the big question today for the Florida Gators, how much fight, how much passion would they bring here to play the Gamecocks after a weak one on the road in Missouri last weekend? Gators have brought the fight. Now they need to bring the points at the beginning of the fourth. Trailing 28-13. It's Felipe Franks' game to finish as Randy Shannon told John at the half. With Felipe Franks under center. Taking a fumble. Lost it. We'll see who has it at the bottom of the pile. With another center in there, Jordan. And the Gators get it back. Remember, McCoy, the center, went down. They've had to shuffle on the offensive line again.
The fundamental for quarterbacks is to seat the ball. Obviously, he never gets the ball, but you have to get it clear of that pulling guard. Otherwise, he can knock it from your hands. But this was just a lack of any exchange at all.
And a lot of times when that center has to make a back block because the guard is pulling, he will cheat a little bit because he's got a step left as he snaps. Hard to see what happened there and who do you pin that on, but the Gators get a lucky break either way.
Franks, deep shot, looking downfield, incomplete. Intended for Cleveland. We told you he has not been a factor today. Jamarcus King in coverage there on Tyree Cleveland.
Really nice job by Jamarcus King of using the sideline to his advantage. There's something called the red line where the receiver has to keep some space between him and the sidelines. There was no room there. King worked him to the sidelines. The ball goes out of bounds. And this brings up a third and forever for Florida, who we all agree is in 4-down territory. They've got to at least pick up 5, 6, 7, 8 yards here. So look for some crossing routes. But I think South Carolina is going to be a little bit more conservative here. So with Malik Zaire rooting on, Felipe Franks, 3rd and 19. Franks loads up. Incomplete, and a chance at a big one for Freddie Swain. I think you guys and all the Florida fans have the exact same reaction. You got to catch that.
You can't throw it any better. This is a brilliantly conceived play. You're clearing with the inside receiver. Here comes the dig route. The ball is perfectly placed between the 1 and the 6. And now you force a punt.
I see you started in 4-down territory, and now you've moved out of 4-down territory.
This is the story of Florida offense all season long. In 2 situations where we both say they're in 4-down territory, they can't get to a position where they can go for it.
Townsend hangs it high. Bounce at the 10. Gators down it. Florida was able to hang on to the football despite a couple of stumbles, but they punted away anyway in the 4th. Here in South Carolina. the Gamecock offensive line been getting after it now.
They've been getting it done now. Mon Denson's been taking advantage of it. This is an offensive line that had 6 different lineups in the first 7 games. Fellas, this is the 3rd straight week with the same lineup. That chemistry has shown up today. They are blocking at a high level. They're identifying the things that they need to. And when they wanted to run the ball, they've been able to. And the net result has been about 5 yards.
And now Bentley Chase throws it out of his own end zone somehow. Hayden Hurst hauls it in. Talk about bailing out your QB. There is a flag down. How in the world Bentley out of the end zone to Hurst in traffic?
Let me just go down and give you what Will Muschamp said on that play. No, 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 great throw! that was hairy, to say the least.
Penalty is reviewed. Result of the play is a first down.
I mean, this is almost miraculous from Bentley to Hurst.
And this is play action, and he's getting grabbed the whole time, one-handed.
Fellas, 2-score lead. That's not what you want to see your quarterback doing, just throwing one up for grabs. But what a play by Hayden Hurst. Obviously held right there, but just a one-hand grab. He is an MVP-type performer for this Gamecock offense.
Gators bringing them all. Gamecocks still running. Denson tripped up. Looked like Joseph got him on the ankle.
Florida's response that time was to bring Jeremiah Moon off the outside edge. That was a simple zone play to the right-hand side. Keep your eye on the legs of Jake Bentley. We've seen him run the football before. Had he kept that, he would have ran for a long distance. Keep your eye on whether or not South Carolina does some zone read. Bentley keeps it to the side away from the play.
And to your point, Aaron, if you're Chris Rumpf right now, you got to take some chances. You need to get this ball back. 2 scores force that issue.
Gamecocks have turned it over 4 times in this game. Denson on the right side, finds the edge, diving. We'll see where they spot him down. Taylor makes a stop. He appears to be just short, but it's 3rd and 1.
College football fans get frustrated when they see the guys go out of bounds if their team's trying to bleed the clock. But remember, the clock only stops when it goes out of bounds inside of 2 minutes. They'll mark the ball, and then the clock will continue to roll.
Bentley fakes it, throw it on 3rd and 1. Hurst has it. A little bit easier grab this time for Hurst, but he still comes through for his quarterback, picking up the 1st down.
Great play call here this time by Kurt Roper. Florida's over-responding, expecting the run. They're just going to slip. Hurst out into the flat. Great play-action call. Gets everybody guessing from the Gators. And once again, 81, who I think could be the highest tight end taken in the draft, shows you his playmaking ability after the catch and run.
Turner's in the backfield. Hurst joins him. Turner takes it. 1st and 10. Reese makes the tough tackle. Well, Hurst has made a remarkable one-handed grab, and then on 3rd and 1, able to move it. So you see, since 2016, he's a converted wide receiver, but right. I mean, he's a tough tight end.
He's become a complete tight end. He's 24 years old, and you know he's got another year of eligibility, and they all say how much he loves it here, but they can't imagine him passing up an opportunity to go to the next level. But if you're Will Muschamp, you're going, can we at least talk about it?
And think about the receiving corps if he stayed with Edwards and both the Smiths.
Wow. And Deebo Samuel.
He's going to come back. Yep. Exactly.
That's Turner. Screwed up at the 30. It's Reese.
I cannot emphasize how huge this is for the South Carolina program. They're so far ahead of schedule. It was 2 years ago. They were 3-9. Coach Spurrier had decided to move on. There was a lot of question about the future of the program. Will Muschamp gets a second chance. And imagine what he's thinking here, playing his former team and having this kind of success with an opportunity to close this game out. And 100+ recruits here today. You can jumpstart your program. All those guys we talked about coming back. This is a monster game for South Carolina.
So way ahead of schedule in year 2.
Absolutely.
Under Muschamp, especially with Florida down, Tennessee struggling. Georgia's looking pretty good atop the East. Bentley on the roll. Bentley looking for the block, and he does not get it. It's Reese who drills the QB, Jake Bentley.
That'll be the last time they'll do that. Kurt Roper has ultimate trust in Jake Bentley. When he calls these plays, we saw the 3rd and 1 pass to Hurst. Beautiful call. Here they're trying to steal that play again. Ultimately, it's just about getting this clock out.
And he does a nice job there of not throwing the football away and taking the incompletion because the seconds continue to tick away.
So a chance to make it a 3-score game. Parker White from 47 yards with 5 minutes remaining in the 4th. White. Oh, no good. 4:56. So a ray of sunlight for Randy Shannon and the Florida Gators, still within striking distance, despite the fact you have only 33 yards of offense in the 2nd half.
Florida's got to find a way to get something done. That snap wasn't very good. Nice job by the holder of getting it back up off the ground. But finishing drives is something that Florida struggled with throughout the season and certainly in this game. This time it's the Gamecocks and Randy Shannon feeling good of that ray of light, Carter, that you mentioned that his offense now has.
Same result. Big penalty, 1st and 15. Give it to Cleveland, why not? And he is dropped by King after the 1st down completion. Get it back.
Cleveland's really their playmaker. Been kind of quiet today, but nice job of getting a big chunk of that yardage back. I'll tell you what, when Felipe Franks has time to throw and set his feet, he's done a nice job of getting rid of the football, but this offensive line has to do a better job of protecting than they've done at times in this game.
That's the first catch for your 2nd leading receiver. And the big play guy. And that one's high and incomplete, intended for Hammond, 3rd and 4.
We see flashes out of Felipe Franks. We see, the great throw. We saw it on 4th down to Brandon Powell in the 1st half that led to the touchdown. We saw the great throw he made on the 3rd down, long 3rd down that was dropped. But just the inconsistencies, and that's what's ultimately got to change if we're going to change the inconsistency of the Florida offense.
You love his arm talent and what he can do, but it seems like he needs another spring and fall camp to kind of let the game slow down for him. Can the Gators protect?
Keep his legs a part of the factor.
Franks on the roll on 3rd and 4. And he has room to run. But he's going to stop, and he's going to fire downfield, and it is caught simultaneous by a couple of Gators at the 1. It's the heave to Stevens to take it to 1st and goal for Florida.
On a 3-man rush, Felipe Franks pulls the ball down, but shows you his mobility, keeps himself alive, and just bad back-end play by South Carolina. Your safeties have to be deeper than the deepest, and Florida sitting here on the goal line thanks to the strength that Felipe Franks was on.
Gain of 63 on this one. Give it to Thompson. Thompson, let's say loose football, and the Gamecocks think they have it. A big call coming in the end zone. Gamecocks have the football, but was it a touchdown for Florida? If it crosses the goal line, breaks the play, and the play's dead at that point, nothing else matters. And here comes the big signal.
I'll wager to say we're going to take a look at this one.
And here's Hubert Owen's explanation that results in a touchdown, Florida.
Yeah, he's across the goal line there. It's hard to see when that ball starts to come out. All it has to do, Carter, and you hit the nail on the head there, is cross the plane, the very front edge of the goal line, and it certainly appears that it did so, albeit briefly, before the ball comes out.
Officially a touchdown. The 63-yard completion sets up a rush for Thompson. The PAT is good. So with 3:43 to go, an 8-point game. Gators and Gamecocks. Not done yet. Because the 47-yard miss by Parker White, South Carolina had a chance to make it a 3-score game. Gators did exactly what they needed to do. Now, with 3 timeouts, Rick, what's the strategy here for the Gators?
The high likelihood is they're going to go ahead and kick it deep. This Florida defensive line has been outstanding, especially getting into the backfield and creating some havoc, creating some turnovers. I think you're going to lean on that. You're going to kick this deep.
And sure enough, they give the onside look. And now Pinedo will kick it deep. Fenton will take a knee at the 20. And now 3:43. Gators have 3 timeouts. Bentley gives it to Turner on 1st down, picking his way across the 35. Lines to the 37. Joseph on the stop.
Nice job on the right side of that offensive line running into the boundary. Florida's going to use its first timeout.
So out of the first call timeout for Florida, 2nd and 4. Bentley turns hands, Denson, and he is dropped by Jefferson. There's the 2nd timeout. One more chance to stop the clock. Gators need a big stop coming back.
And if you're Florida, you have to have some good run fits with gap integrity. You can't overcommit and leave yourself exposed.
I like zone read to the boundary right there, Aaron. Sets up well, put it all on that defensive end. Zuniga.
On 3rd and 4, Bentley to throw, tipped, knocked away. Dawson makes the play. It was intended for Edwards, throwing on 3rd and 4. Now it's 4th down and 4. Florida still has the 1 timeout.
Well, Kurt Roper showed some confidence in Jake Bentley, but it wasn't his legs, it was his arms. I don't like this play call, particularly with the harm that he's put the football in. Good coverage right there. I like the decision, if you're going to throw it to Edwards. But, man.
This was the same play they tried on 4th down last week against Georgia, and it's just an over coverage by the corner because there's no choice but to over cover.
Charlton gets it away at the 25. Swain is back. Fair catch. He'll have it at the 20. 3 minutes, 19 seconds. 1 timeout. Franks on 1st down. Pressured. Franks is going to dump it. And we will see if that's intentional grounding, whether he was outside the tackle box or not.
Well, it never got to the line of scrimmage, Carter. That's going to be intentional grounding.
Wanham gives the pressure, which basically results in a sack with intentional
and a
grounding.
loss of down.
Intentional grounding. Offense. Number 13. Although he was out of the pocket, the ball never got back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd down.
It was a great effort to try to get rid of the ball. He put the ball in his left hand, but need to work on his left arm throwing to get it past that line of scrimmage. Just can't happen. One thing in a clock drive, boys, you can't have is the sacks. Empty again. He loves this formation.
TE stunts up front. The offensive line has to sort it out.
Franks delivers well short. Gamecocks keep it all in front of him. Brandon Powell brought down by Fenton. Minimal gain under 3 minutes.
The hardest thing to do in a situation like this is to play with a sense of urgency, but maintain your poise. There's a fine line between getting after it and executing.
Still 2 downs to gain the 1st down. No need to get out over your skis and try to make huge plays. Play within yourself.
Different look this time by Travaris Robinson. They're showing blitz. My guess is they'll bail, bring some. You've got to be able to communicate this up front.
So Franks on 3rd and 9. Tipped and incomplete. 4th and 9 with 2 minutes and 24 seconds left.
And so it comes down to this. For the guy with as little experience as Felipe Franks, you're going to want to go to something that he does and does well. I think about the throw he made to Freddie Swain on that 3rd down around midfield. I wouldn't be surprised to see that play. And here's the question. Will Travaris Robinson decide to dial up a pressure? Because they know they need a chunk of yardage here to make the 1st down. Are you going to add to the pass rush? Make it a 5 or 6 man rush, probably a 5-man rush or a zone pressure.
Last time they were in this situation, South Carolina went to a 3-deep zone. Let's see what they dial up here.
They barely get it off. Franks on the roll. Fires, that is caught. Powell has it. He is right at the sticks. He has just enough to keep the Gators alive with 2:17.
What a great call by Doug Nussmeier right here. He takes the pressure out of the hands of Travaris Robinson, the defensive coordinator for South Carolina, by moving the pocket. Excellent. Takes a little pressure off of Franks. 1st down Gators.
And how about that rope that he threw out there on the edge?
Can Felipe Franks do it again? First and 10, pressure throwing, and it is incomplete. 2nd and 10, minute 48. For those of you expecting to see #1 Georgia taking on 10th ranked Auburn, that game will be available on CBSSports.com. We will get you there right here on CBS after the conclusion of this game.
Touchdown drives, which is necessary here for Florida to get a chance to tie the game, are much easier for defensive coordinators to call because they're not sitting there wondering where the red zone is for a field goal kicker.
Franks stepping up again. Now he's going to roll middle of the field. Gators do have the 1 timeout. Franks barely hangs on to the football. Williams makes the stop. And as of right now, no timeout.
You don't need to right now. You save your timeout to add plays. Certainly you could use it here, and given that Franks just went on about a 30-40 yard jaunt, you might have him catch his breath. But still plenty of time.
South Carolina showing pressure once again.
3rd and 5, it's tipped, and it is Carolina football. The Gamecocks will win it.
Flag on the play.
And a huge call coming. Williams has the pick if it stands.
There's no foul for pass interference. The pass was tipped. South Carolina ball, first down.
Question was whether it was going to be holding or interference. Interference is taken off by the tip pass.
And South Carolina all game long has gotten their hands on football. Once again, that defensive line, Javon Kinlaw, gets his big mitts on the ball that negates this penalty that would have extended the drive. Jamarcus King getting lucky, and once again, complimentary football with the front end of this South Carolina defense helping out those DBs.
One timeout left for Florida, one chance to stop the clock, but that's academic. Gamecocks in victory formation.
My favorite play to call.
It's the best in football.
Randy Shannon's Gators fought, but the former Gator head coach, Will Muschamp, gets to celebrate. Win number 7 in his second year as head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, assuring that South Carolina will finish at least in a tie for second place in the East.
And 5-3 in the SEC. I'm telling you, this is a remarkable job being done by Will Muschamp. He's going to be really excited. He's in his private moments, having beaten his former employer. 100 recruits. He's going to get to go talk about the future of South Carolina football. Chance for big things. Maybe a New Year's Day bowl down the road. Congratulations to the head coach of South Carolina.
It's amazing what a difference a quarterback makes for Will Muschamp. Felipe Franks, valiant effort coming in off the bench. But South Carolina gets us one on a gutsy, ugly win.
So for Aaron Taylor, Rick Neuheisel, John Schriffen, I'm Carter Blackburn saying so long from Columbia, South Carolina. Final score 28-20. Gamecocks win it over the Gators. We'll get you right out to 10th ranked Auburn against #1 Georgia right after these messages.